I just want to start by congratulating LeBron on a career milestone and becoming third all time in field goals made, passing one hell of a name in Wilt Chamberlain. Just pretty remarkable, and then doing it on a night where he has a triple double and helps us beat another Western Conference contender. Just a hell of a performance by him tonight. Can we take questions now?
All right, Mike Trudeau.
Hey Frank, AD just said that you got into the players a little bit at halftime and seemed focused on defense. Just wondered if you could share what your message was and how you saw that impact.
Yeah, it was more like a lot of it than a little bit. I was very unhappy with how we played and our energy in the first half, and we started seeing that a little bit towards the end of our trip. Just not playing with the hard motor. I thought some things we were doing defensively were okay, but we had the ability to ratchet it up. I knew that was in there for us, but we weren't playing with any offensive pace. And we're quite frankly just weren't playing hard enough on that side of the ball. And when we put our minds to it, this team can do great things. We reminded them that we outscored New Orleans 80-40 over a stretch in that game. Once we put our mind to it, and that's what we needed to do tonight. And we were able to basically double the scoring in the second half with a 68-35 second half. Against the fourth best team in the West currently and a contender in the West, quite frankly. So we did it with against a great opponent, and it was a heck of a second half for us.
Yeah, Frank, you had 40 points in the paint in the second half. How much of that is connected with defense and running and transition and just the sort of the whole product versus guys, THD, LeBron, et cetera, just getting to the rim when they want it?
A little both, but the pace, right? The pace is when we're at our best, and the defensive energy creates the pace on the offensive side of the ball, and they both work together. And when we're able to get out, and we had 25 fast break points, so that's where a lot of points in the paint came. But we were just aggressive and assertive attacking the rim.
Dave.
Frank, you opened up your post-game remarks to us with a statement about LeBron's accomplishments, which isn't something you normally do. Do you think tonight was a reminder or a statement or whatever you want to say about his standing in the league, especially considering the showing against a guy like Jokic who's gotten some MVP buzz through this quarter of the season mark so far?
Well, I just think he continues to prove himself as the best player in the league. It's clear to me and my coaching staff and our organization, and I think nights like this just demonstrate that. I think it's worth mentioning how well he's shooting the ball from the perimeter, which is really remarkable for someone in his 18th year to continue to try to grow and add to his game and experience this type of evolution where he's beating teams over the top on a regular basis. It's really creating problems for defenses, creating a lot of wins for us, and just a testament to him, with that mentality to just continue to try to improve and grow his game.
Bill.
Hey Frank, I have kind of two tail-end questions that you can probably answer in one answer. But I'm wondering, when did he go from a guy who you knew had a lot of raw talent and the physical tools to be a contributor to somebody you felt like you could trust in games like this and really rely on? And then two, you put it in the playoffs against Houston, and how much are you looking at this in a big picture standpoint, where it's like you knew that experience could prepare him for this moment, and then how much are you looking at what these minutes can do for him in a playoff run, and then even further down the road from there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a big progression. I think he didn't really. I know he had some strong G League performances last year, but didn't really register on my radar until I started watching him in the pickup game, or not pickup games, in the practices in the bubble, and in some of those bubble games, just on a regular basis, showing me excellent play, and a very versatile offensive game with some real defensive talent. And for me to put him in a playoff game against the Houston Rockets and James Harden, that shows the level of trust that I had with him back then. I remember thinking, I don't want to look back and say, well, we're trying to beat this team, and I had this guy sitting on the bench and I didn't even use him. So I at least wanted to throw him out there. Every test, so to speak, that we've given them, he's passed, has played really well, and has continued to earn a bigger role. So, the thing is, we have a lot of guys playing well on this team. So there's some stretches where he's not going to play as much as others, but it doesn't mean we have any kind of lack of confidence in him.
Dan?
Frank, on the way into half, I think with a couple minutes left, Dennis Schroeder lays out for a ball. It seemed like you were pretty excited about that play because it seemed like you were looking for something like that from your guys. Did you use that play at halftime at all? And in talking to people as sort of an example is like, this is what we need to do for the next 24 minutes?
Yeah, we talked about that, and just overall our overall energy on the defensive end, the final 3 or 4 minutes of that half, I felt was something that could spark us into the second half. And Dennis's play was an example of that. Anytime a player dives on the floor for a loose ball in front of his coach, that's going to excite the coach. So we definitely look for that kind of hustle. Dennis fits in to our identity of being a really hard playing dude. And when we have that kind of speed and intensity on the perimeter with guys like AD and Braun, we're gonna be tough to beat. We gotta make sure we put our mind to it. Because when we put our mind to it, we can do great things like we saw in that Pelicans game, like we mentioned, and like we saw tonight in the second half.
Last three, Kyle Boone.
Yeah, Frank, just Kyle tonight, starting the third quarter. That I'm thinking of the chase down block he had of Michael Porter, and he was obviously part of that lineup that went 15-0 at the end of the third. What was sort of the importance of his role tonight, and sort of in the same vein that you were talking about Taylor just a minute ago, what's the growth been in your time as coach?
Well, Kuz is just, I feel like he's at peace with what's being asked of him, and is going out there and killing it, and he's what we talked about a lot last year, he's being a star in his role, and his role, him coming in and knocking down threes and making the right play offensively, and sometimes that's going to lead to a high scoring night, sometimes it's going to lead to him creating for others types of night, but him playing as hard as he does on both ends of the ball, crashing the boards every single time, running the floor every single time, working his tail off on the defensive end. It's part of our identity. And guys don't always have that ability to play hard like that naturally. Sometimes you have to pull it out of people, but you don't have to pull it out of people. I mean, you don't have to pull it out of Kuz. That's just the way he plays. And he's been a big part of our culture here the last 2 years. I know he's been here longer than I've been here, but what we did last year, he was a big part of, and he's a big part of what we're doing this year.
Last two, Rashawn.
Hey, Coach, how much tonight is an example of you guys picking up a guy like Schroeder? I mean, AD doesn't have his best game offensively, but Schroeder's able to, get some buckets for you. Also, create some energy with his defense and things like that. How big is that for you, going forward?
Yeah, it's huge. Like we just talked about this a minute ago, but how hard he plays and the speed and toughness and nastiness that he plays the game with, in particular on the defensive end and attacking the basket offensively, is it's a big reason why we're number one in the league in defense, and a big reason why we have one of the best records in the league for what he's been able to bring to our team.
Last question, Jovan.
Hey Frank, you guys are now 3-0 since reducing the rotation, and you talked about pregame how you go into each game with a game plan in terms of how you want to use guys. Is this a situation now where you guys have just kind of found a groove and you want to ride this out, or how do you kind of now view tweaking the rotation eventually if you end up deciding to?
Yeah, game to game, and when you have guys like Keith and Wes they're really good players they fit our culture, they represent who we want to be on the floor with the toughness, the selflessness, the play hard mindset, and there's just a lot of veteran savvy. You just don't want those guys staying going too long where they're getting getting DMPs or not staying involved and the ability to get in there. So you know, we'll continue to look at it on a game-to-game basis so that we're keeping all of our weapons sharp. But certainly, you know, we're seeing some good things with the rotation we're using right now. So we'll keep evaluating game to game.